Hello, my name's Joe and we're going to be looking at how to change colours and static meshes inside a blueprint using construction scripts in Unreal Engine. If you find this useful, please do like, subscribe and hit that bell for more videos, and don't forget to check out my website 3dassetlibrary.com for Unreal and Unity engine assets. So I've got an asset pack that I've created here and it's full city, and basically what we're going to look at is how to, inside of a prefab, if you don't know what a prefab is, please do check out my videos, because I've got other videos on how to create basic prefabs. But I've got the ability to basically say, duplicate this, and I can say, right, I want, it's exactly the same mesh as you can see here, but I want to change this one to a different color. So what I can do here is I can go to my materials and I can drag that on and change that to red, and say we want to change the surround to a different color. We can say, well, we want that red too, and we also want the wood, change that to a different wood color. See if we've got one a little bit brighter. So there we go. So you can see here that's given us the ability to customize our meshes, and we can obviously drag off here and we can say, well, I want this building to have a yellow brick, and you can see that straight away. So how we do this is I'll do this from scratch. So I'm going to create a prefab. So what I'll do here is attempt to add a prefab. Come on. A prefab, I had to size that down, sorry, and we'll go blueprint class actor. I name this test. I'm just going to drag that into the scene. So there we go. So now what I'm going to do is open up the prefab. I'm just going to go through this very quickly because I don't want to be bogging people down that have already watched videos on prefabs of how to do this. So what we'll do here is then we'll add a mesh. So I'm just going to try and size this as best I can, and so I'm just going to drag a mesh in. So I'll say we've got the apartment door here. So we've dragged our mesh in. So what we can do here now, as you can see, it's in the project here, and we'll just zoom this in, just we'll focus on that. And so what we're going to do here is now create the ability to basically change the color of this. So what we've got here is we're going to say that we want to change the color of the brick, the stone and the wood. So what we'll do is we'll click on the construction script tab. Now, if you don't know what construction scripts are versus event graph scripts and things like that, please, I've got a video on that that just breaks down very quickly what the difference is. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag in our mesh. So this is essentially what we've got here in the viewport, and we're going to drag off of this and go set material. And we want the top one, which is, just drag it off again, so I did that too fast, set material. So it's just the one that says set material. So what we can do there is then go click on that, drag that the construction script pin into the top pin here, and this is target here is basically telling us where it's going to go. We'll come to this in a minute, and what we're going to do is right click on material, promote to variable, give this a name. It's down here or up here, depending where you prefer to add yours, and we'll name it, say, brick, and then we're going to expose this with the eye. So that basically allows us to see it in the editor viewport, Unreal viewport. So then we'll compile and say, make sure there's no errors. Now, the element here, this dictates what texture it's going for editing. So when we go to our mesh here, if we click on it, you'll see over here we've got all our materials. So element 0 is brick, element 1 is the concrete, element 2 is wood, etc., etc. So we want to basically affect the element that is our brick. So in this case it is 0. So now we've done that. So depending on, obviously, yours might be 1, 2, etc., 0. So 0. What you've got to try and do is when you're using, and I do this occasionally by accident, but when you're creating, say, your meshes in Blender or whatever, is to make sure that you set the element. If you always want brick to be 0, make sure that it's the first material that appears in the list in, say, in Blender or Maya or whatever. So what we'll do is, now we've set that, is that when we go to our viewport, I will just close that down. We now have this field over here that's got brick in it. So what we can do here is go to our materials, and in theory, when we drag our brick onto it, it'll change the brick color. Now we want to do exactly the same, but we want to obviously change the concrete and the wood. So what we'll do is we'll just open up our prefab again, and what we can do is just duplicate these two and plug them in right click on material, we'll name this one concrete, and we'll expose it again so it's seen. And then what we want to do is find our element for the wood, concrete. So that is element 1. Put that in, and then we're going to copy and paste again and plug that in. We want to find, right click on material, name this wood, or name it whatever you want to name it, obviously. Again, click on the apartment, find what the element ID is for the wood, so that's number 2. Oh, not 52, 2. Make sure these are obviously public so we can edit them. So compile, save, we'll close. And now what we should have, is now we have our concrete and wood here. So now what we should be able to do is drag on to our concrete. We've changed our concrete there, and we'll drag on to our wood, and we've changed our wood there. So as you can see here, that's allowed us to do that. So we can shift off exactly the same as the others and say, well, no, I want this one to be blue and with red outlines. And obviously what you do here is then, if you want to add more floors, all you do is you add, say, I'll show you in here quickly, is I'll just duplicate this, and we'll change it so it's window, what have we got here? And yeah, so you can see here the elements are the same for this. So I'll just drag this up so that we make sure it's not intersecting. And then what we can do is we can actually, because the elements are the same, so the element IDs are the same, we can actually just drag this in, and then we can just I'm just going to do this quickly, plug those all in, and then what we should happen is when I press OK, you can see here that it's added it. That's actually an error. What you're seeing here is an error in my LODs there, so just ignore that. So you can see there that we've now got 2 floors that are being changed, and that what happens is when I go, say this one, we can say, well, I want that red. That's going to change everything to red, and exactly the same principle with the concrete. It changes everything. So as you can see there straight away, that allows you to basically very quickly set up variations in the scene. So if we look over here, how many different variations of stuff I've got, different colors and things like that. You can see there how useful that can be. Now, another thing you can do in this is, say we want to basically have it so that we can switch out this mesh here, so that we can have different window variations. So what we can do there, it's a similar principle, is that we're going to, what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to put a sequence in here just so it's easier to understand when following along. So sequence basically says do this first, then do this. So what we'll do is we'll drag in our window, and we will go drag off that and go set static mesh. Oh no, set mesh. Is it that one? Yes, that one. So there we go. So we want set mesh. So what this is going to allow us to do is a similar principle as before, is we'll right click, promote variable, and say mesh. Do that. Okay, and then what we want to do is when we've pressed compile and save, is we want to just give this a default mesh. If I get the right one, so we'll say just type in window, because what will happen is if you don't, you'll get errors, and you might not even notice, that you've got no mesh there, or there's the ability for the mesh. So it's always good practice to have some placeholder mesh so you know to change it. So then when we go compile save, what we can then do is say click on this one. And we'll scroll down here, and we've got our mesh field here now. So what we can do is we can say, well, I want a different mesh. So you can see there straight away we've got a different window type, and it's still changed the color. We can go to this one and go, well, I want that to be that window type. And as you can see here, very quickly, you've got different variations here. Obviously, you can stack these as high as you want, things like that. If you want the ability to say turn the mesh off, you can say what can we do? You could probably drag off that, go set visibility. There were probably cleaner ways of doing this. So what this is going to do, this is going to allow us to toggle the visibility on and off. So we can right click on new visibility, name this hide mesh. And what we can do then is go save, and by default what we'll do is we'll turn that on. So we can say we've got the little tick box down here that says hide mesh now, so we can click that and go hide mesh. So we've hidden a floor there. So hopefully this has given you an understanding of how to set up construction scripts. With this, you can do incredible things, but do bear in mind this can have a frame rate hit on your viewport when doing this, because obviously suddenly it's putting more strain on trying to do this live and things like that. And what I like to do is that if, say, with something like this is I've got these buildings stacked here that say I just wanted one mesh but wanted the ability to just change the colours, what I'll do is I'll group all these meshes together and merge them all together. I've got a tutorial on that, which basically just helps keep things cleaner and I believe helps reduce draw calls and things like that. But yeah, hopefully this helped. If it has, please do like and subscribe. Cheers.